Welcome to Sinister Heroes. I'm your host, Danny Iniquitous. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, this is a channel about Dungeons and Dragons. Big thank you to our Patreon supporters. We love you guys first and foremost. You guys do a huge amount for keeping us motivated and supporting the channel. Let's get those numbers up. If you're interested in becoming one, the link is in the description, as well as a link to our good friends at Critical Failures, where we're part of a live stream game, as well as our gaming channel. With all that out of the way, we're going to jump into this week's video. We're talking about the Hollow Warden Ranger. So the Hollow Warden Ranger is a Unearthed Arcana, so it's like a playtest. It's something that they're putting out there because they want to see how people react to it and if they like it. Let me tell you, this is definitely up my alley. This is definitely something I am into, definitely something I like. Let me just read the flavor text for you guys so that way you can see and understand why this calls so deeply to me. The legends tell that the most ancient and fearsome terrors lurk deep within the old places of the earth, unfathomable, bloodthirsty entities of fallow soil and sharpened claws. Hollow Wardens venerate and draw power from such beings, transforming themselves into merciless and monstrous guardians that stalk along jagged coastlines, across steep mountain crags, and through dark and wild places. Right there, sold. Definitely my thing. I love it when they get gross and scary and cryptic and deep into the fears of mankind, because the forest and the woodland areas have been one of the scariest places in folklore and legends since the creation of the written word. It is spooky and scary, and a lot of entities that become fearsome legendary monsters and nightmare fuel come from dark places that can be very well hidden. Love that. Love that for the Ranger to be this heroic kind of a character that draws power from those entities. So I am definitely with it. So let's jump into what you get. So at level 3, you get Hollow Warden spells, which are always prepared and don't count towards your numbers that you can prepare. As a Ranger, you get Wrathful Smite at 3, Spike Growth at 5, Phantom Steed at 9, Hallucinatory Terrain at 13, and at 17 you get Awaken. All of those things are awesome. Wrathful Smite inflicts fear. Spike Growth is just a terrible thing to have to go through. Phantom Steed kind of gives me this really cool Headless Horseman kind of a vibe. Hallucinatory Terrain is great when you depict what a ranger is. Someone who hangs out in these areas, someone that like kind of uses these to keep evil entities from spilling over into the world. Like, rangers are hardened, battle-ready people that are just not to be messed with. So with Hallucinatory Terrain, I can see someone using that in order to confuse, disorient, or cause great issues for some of these entities and deter them into an area where the ranger might have set up traps or lure them into a place where they can execute them. Definitely with it. Awaken brings things to life that are under your control. So definitely love that you can touch something that's inanimate and give it life. Very cool, especially when you can use it as an entity to fight for you. That is really a lot of fun, and you get to play with that, especially as a ranger. It's really cool and gives you reasons to kind of cast some of these spells you wouldn't normally. You also gain at 3rd level Wrath of the Wild. You draw on the strange and ancient horrors of the land for power. When you cast Hunter's Mark, you transform for the duration of the spell, gaining the following benefits. Ancient Armor. You gain a bonus to your AC equal to your wisdom modifier. Your body becomes shrouded in rotten bark or beastly bristles. So understand, with a +2, that's like having a shield on. So if you already have a shield and you're dumping another 2 AC on top of that, this is very easily something that you can really make a very big increase in your defensive capabilities with that. If you want to invest more into your wisdom, say you end up with a +4 or +5. If you had something, if you max out dexterity as well, you could have +5. So say you had studded armor, so that's 17, plus an additional 5 for your wisdom, so you had 22 AC whenever you throw on Hunter's Mark. And the way the new ranger is built, you're throwing on Hunter's Mark all the time. It's inherent to the new ranger's kit, so you really get used to casting it. But that's not enough. You also gain unnerving aura. When an enemy starts its turn within a 10-foot emanation originating from you, it must make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the creature can take either an action or a bonus action, not both, on that turn. Your shadow lengthens and twists, or unnatural growths like bloody antlers or putrid fangs sprout from your body. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's like a fraction of the slow spell, which is really, really cool, because as you gain higher levels, that the enemies that you have will have bonus actions and will have to make a choice between those specialized bonus actions or just the regular actions. Plus, you can grow antlers and look like some sort of wild entity of the forest, some sort of hybrid, like a lycanthrope of elk and man, or something crazy like that, or some like ancient horror that is mostly beasts. And like on top of that, your body gets shrouded in either beastly bristles or rotten bark. Imagine looking like that. Like, that is a cool concept just to look like, and that becomes a benefit additional to Hunter's Mark. Just having those benefits alone, because they are both on. You don't have to choose. They are both always on. That alone is an awesome ability. You do have to be wary of Constitution saving throws for Hunter's Mark, but with that upped AC, that could be a really big benefit, especially this early. At level 3, having extra AC is a big thing for enemies that you're fighting at that level to overcome. Moving on to level 7, Hungering Might. You become harder to kill and more predatory. You gain a bonus to Constitution saving throws equal to your Wisdom modifier. Additionally, once per turn, when you hit a creature with an attack roll while transformed by Wrath of the Wild and you are bloodied at half hit points or lower, you regain 1d10 plus your Wisdom modifier hit points. This is passively on. This makes Wrath of the Wild even better. The additional ability to continually regain hit points from making hits once per turn is a big bonus. That's anywhere between 6 and 15 hit points at level 7 per turn. If you can dodge a few attacks, that makes it last even better. On top of that, adding your Wisdom modifier to your Constitution saving throw can make the difference with keeping spells going, like Hunter's Mark. Now, with a decent con and a decent Wisdom, you're adding a big benefit. Constitution is something that's worth upping, especially if you're a frontliner. This definitely makes your Wisdom more important for a ranger. So you might look like outside ways to up your Wisdom, or things that you can do to really gain some additional benefits to that in order to make this work, because it is worth it to keep your spells going. Rangers have a lot of cool spells alone, but having your Constitution modifier going is pretty great. Because this is always on, even if you're not using Wrath of the Wild. So the ability to add Wisdom to your Constitution saving throw is on your benefit when you're using things like Spike Growth or any of the other concentration spells you might have. And the Ranger spell list is always really good. It's worth looking at some of the things you have to choose from. At level 11. Now this is where most campaigns will end, usually at the level after this. You will definitely see this pretty often. This ability is called Rot and Violence. Let me tell you, the name alone is enough to make my heart sing. This is what it's about. So, this text reads as follows. Your dedication to the Eldritch Forest beings alters you further. While transformed using Wrath of the Wild, you gain these additional effects. When a creature fails its saving throw against your unnerving aura, it also takes necrotic, poison, or psychic damage, your choice, equal to your ranger level. This damage ignores resistance. And Strangling Root. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can activate the sap or slow mastery property in addition to any other mastery property you're using with that weapon. Understand what this means. Having the availability to do almost a passive aura of damage is really, really beneficial. And you can choose the damage type. That is great, because if you're fighting undead, you don't want to use poison. If you're fighting certain types of undead, you don't want to use really necrotic either. If you're fighting eldritch horrors like illithids and things like that, you don't want to do psychic. If you're fighting humans, you definitely want to use poison, but it gives you that great aura. And the theory behind these 3 damage types being linked in is so great, because it's really my favorite damage types realistically, and the theme behind it. Like, necrotic is anything that just saps the life out of you, and that drains life, that kills you, that ends you, that debilitates you. It's rot growing on an instant. It's life force just hardening and losing all of that spark of life and malleability of life. Poison is poison itself, and psychic can be horror and fear fracturing the mind. I love that. And it's one of my favorite things, because it continues to boost from an ability that is already yours, and it just continues to get better. Strangling Roots is the one that gives you sap or slow weapon property when you hit a creature with a weapon attack. And you can choose. So understand what this means. Sap gives the enemy disadvantage on the first attack, and slow makes it move 10 feet slower than it would normally. If you slow something and push it, you'll push it, like, I want to say 10 feet anyway, and then it loses 10 feet. So even if it had like 40 feet of movement, you're out of range of it. And that's a really great opportunity. If you topple someone, so you knock them over and they're prone, they get up and they'll lose 10 feet of their movement. So when they try to get up, that's a bigger amount of movement that they lose, because it's loss of their actual move speed. So if it's like 50 and it loses 4 and it goes down to 40 because of the slow property, and then it gets up, it only has 20 feet of movement. Like, that's a big change. Tactfully, if you're more of a tactical player who really looks at things and really tries to gain a real great advantage from this, the mixing and matching that you can do with this is really great. On top of the different types of weapons, whether you're using ranged or not, they all add onto it. And that's a great ability to be really customizable and give your weapons a little bit more strategy to them, which is really cool. And the final ability you gain at level 15. You might see this more often than you think, depending on the kind of campaign you're running, but the way it reads is as follows. You become wholly suffused with the forest's ancient power, gaining the following benefits. Persistent Hunt. If you drop to 0 hit points while transformed by Wrath of the Wild and don't die outright, you can expand a 4th level or higher spell slot, no action required, and your hit points instead become equal to 5 times the level of the spell slot expended. And Timeless. You gain immunity to the exhausted condition. Now, you don't need to sleep once you hit level 15. You don't. Flat out, you're immune to the exhaustion condition, which means the levels of exhaustion don't apply to you. You don't ever need to sleep. Period. Done. You're awake doing whatever you want while you're awake. It's not just you're awake and you have to remain motionless. You can be awake sprinting for 13 hours and then still be good the next day because you don't suffer from exhaustion. That is pretty cool. In a campaign where maybe you're in a little bit more of a roleplay heavy campaign, maybe a lot of political intrigue is involved, and you do end up going high level, that becomes really unique. That becomes something that makes you significantly special because you can spy on your enemies, you can break into their homes, and you don't miss a beat, which is really great. Plus, you're a ranger, so you have a lot of skills and proficiencies to really endorse that kind of an availability. Persistent Hunt. In 2025, there are not a lot of abilities that lets you just avoid dying. Now, a 4th level spell slot is a lot for a ranger, but if you consider the fact that you can cast Hunter's Mark a number of times for free without using a spell slot throughout your day normally, your spell usage does greatly get diminished because of that. So that's one of the key things about the Ranger in 2024. You do get a number of times equal to, there's a certain number that there's a whole thing that gives you the availability to cast Hunter's Mark without using spell slots a number of times, and as you level up, that changes greatly. So that is really, really cool because it helps reduce the amount of spell slots you're spending. And as a ranger, you do not have a tremendous amount of them. So a 4th level spell slot is something that's going to come very rarely to you. But that does still grant you a lot of play with some of these abilities. The ability to get up as opposed to just dropping is key, especially when there are so few of them around, period. I can really see this subclass getting a lot of play. I can really see it doing very, very well, and people playing it pretty often because it's fun. It's creepy. It lets you leech life. It lets you deal an aura of damage. It really lets you be tactical and smart about the weapons you're using and switch them up, because maybe it's really in your benefit to have a couple of different weapons depending on how magic items are in your game. Maybe you don't have a lot, or maybe they're not of like +3 all of them, and you might accumulate a few more than you've gotten rid of, so you might be able to swap things out for certain circumstances. The imagery is there. That's really, really cool, and that means a lot to me, that you feel like this horrible entity, this horror entity that's just suffused with all these evil and darkness, and you're still a ranger. You're still supposed to be one of those heroes. The Hollow Warden Ranger is definitely something I want to play. I think it's really cool. I love that imagery, and I love that feeling of just transforming into something that's an evil entity. Wielding it for good or bad kind of depends on what kind of campaign you're running, but I can definitely see this a little bit more often than not. It is definitely right up my alley. The Ranger ended up being one of those classes that I really, really enjoy playing anyway. It's something really special to me. I kind of just stumbled upon it and then fell really in love with it, and I think it's so cool. This definitely is up my alley. If you like spooky, if you like creepy, if you like being weird, if you want to turn into some weird, almost evil forest entity with bloody antlers sprouting out from your now rotten bark-like body, like, yes, go for it. And this gives you a lot of ways that not only do you do that with just description, but you get to feel like that as you do it. You can be like a Wendigo, like this incredible hunter that when you get close to it, it is just all over. You feel fear, you feel weakened, you feel frightened, you feel half of yourself just being within its presence. And as it hits you and as it hurts you, it just drains life, and you can see it heal itself. That is awesome. That is very, very cool. It's definitely something that's really, really exciting. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's definitely something I really encourage people to try out. They do take surveys on this stuff, so if there's still time, vote it up. With all that said and done, gonna bring this video to a close. If you made it this far, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Definitely support us on Patreon. It makes a huge difference for the channel, and the links to all of those is in the description, as well as our gaming channel. With all that said and done, thank you for giving a spooky kid a chance.